Handa is an insecure and bullied boy who thinks everyone hates him because he's weak. But in reality, he's the strongest and most popular person at school. Handa is a middle school student who loves calligraphy. He can be a bit strange, but underneath that weirdness, he's really friendly and cheerful when he gets to know you. On the first day of school, he met Kawafuji and they instantly hit it off when they started talking about their common passion, calligraphy, until one day, Kawafuji suddenly told him some devastating news. Their upperclassman was bad-mouthing Handa and spreading rumors. This made Handa feel anxious, hurt and scared. It broke his heart to think someone hated him so much. Short story, Kawafuji liked the girl, but when she asked him to deliver a love letter to Handa, his jealousy got the best of him. Kawafuji told a terrible lie and it was so cruel that it traumatized poor Handa. Kawafuji was joking, but Handa got so traumatized that he didn't understand. Handa's middle school experience left him feeling scared and alone as he entered high school. He noticed people staring at him, and it filled him with fear. He felt sure that they were talking about him, saying mean things behind his back. His mind was racing with fearful thoughts, but this was nothing new. He could still feel the hatred from other kids. The fear of being judged and misunderstood never seemed to leave him. He felt like he couldn't trust anyone around him. As he slowly opened his locker, his heart raced with fear. He was taken back to the days in school when bullies would steal his slippers each day. There was a note inside and he had no idea who wrote it or what it said. His mind raced with all kinds of possibilities, but the one thing that kept replaying in his head was that someone wanted to fight him. He's afraid of confronting someone and decides to throw away the letter and pretend that he didn't get it. However, this potato-faced girl starts yelling at him, angry that he threw away the note her friend, Mako, wrote. Handa's heart starts to race as he stares at Mako. He knows he can't run away this time, but he still hopes she won't punch him right away, and asks what she wants. He's feeling pretty confident as the girl looks like she can barely carry her backpack. But then Mako drops a bomb. She wants him to meet her at the back of the gym after class, in a place where only bullies and bad kids hang out. He knows this could be trouble, but he can't refuse after being asked in front of the whole class. Handa's heart is pounding with fear as he approaches the gym. He knows that many people will be watching and he can't run away from it. His anxiety is increasing by the second, making it hard for him to concentrate in school. He doesn't know what awaits him there but still puts on a brave face. Mako and her friend move closer to him. He can feel his heart pounding in his chest. He steps back, trembling with fear. Mako takes another step towards him and all of a sudden, he feels like the world is spinning around him. She's had her eye on him for some time and really likes him. She has all these warm, fuzzy feelings inside her heart that she can't seem to put into words. So instead, she wrote it all down in a letter, every special feeling that she just can't seem to say out loud. But he simply rejects her and told her that her handwriting was terrible. He returns to the classroom, where the students must vote and decide their class president. Aizawa has been the class president for 10 years, but something is different this time. There's someone else in the running who could take his spot. It's Handa. Even though Handa doesn't know what's happening, he was asleep the whole time. He thinks they want him to suffer cause being the class president is a real pain in the neck. Handa tried to deny it, but Aizawa wasn't going to let him get away with that. They needed a proper challenge to decide which one of them deserved the position. Their teacher thought a game of rock, paper, scissors would be the best way to settle it. Handa was in a pickle. He said he would only play rock, but Aizawa didn't believe him and picked scissors. He knows that he can't handle the pressure of becoming the class president, so he's like, F this, I'm out. When Handa returned to class, he found out that the students had elected him as their class president. Aizawa was so touched when he discovered that Handa had voted for him, and he decided to quit the election because he thinks Handa feels pity for him. The vote is supposed to be anonymous, but yeah, calligraphy can sometimes betray you. Handa had just finished his class and was heading to the city to run some errands when he saw something strange. Two people were shouting at Rio, a homeless-looking person wearing ragged clothes. The two people are model agency scouts who wanted Handa to try on their clothes. Rio is Handa's classmate and a famous model, and he looks homeless because he got all dirty while following Handa to find out why he is so popular. I guess calligraphy gets you more girls falling to their knees than being a model. Handa doesn't recognize Rio and feels like he could need some help. He rejects the scout's offer and gives the clothes to Rio. He thinks Rio is going through a rough life and wants to make sure he has something warm and cozy to wear. Handa is later asked to deliver notes to Akane, one of their classmates who hasn't been showing up for school recently. He arrives at Akane's house and decides to put the package into his mail slot. However, Handa's heart sank as a man, wielding a bat, stepped out from the shadows to confront him. Handa starts shrieking in fear, saying he came to see Akane, but the guy reveals himself to be the one he is looking for. Handa could scarcely believe his eyes. Akane had changed so much. He was a young and small kid, but now he looks like a gangster. Akane angrily snapped at him, refusing to go back to school. Handa said he was just there to deliver the notes, but Akane wasn't having any of it, instead raising his bat to strike his face. Hand stood his ground in shock, not able to move, impressing Akane with his courage. Akane was constantly bullied, so he decided to take matters into his own hands and start training. He stopped going to school and instead devoted himself to becoming a Chad, someone who is strong, confident, and unafraid of anything life throws at him. They are suddenly interrupted by a group of thugs who come to pick on Akane. Handa gives him the prince and nods his head. Akane's heart fills with joy. He finally has a friend who will always have his back. Standing back to back, they face the challenge ahead. Tears of happiness fill his eyes as he knows that no matter what happens, today was the day he made an amazing connection with Handa, someone he can call a brother. Well, not exactly. Handa starts walking away because his job is done. One of the thugs tries to stop him and grabs his backpack. Handa glared at him and he continued walking, with his wall looming over them. The thugs were scared off by Handa's presence and the rumors surrounding him. You know the typical, he has 666 lovers, stole a bike and drove it through all night when he was 5 years old. Also, he killed a bear when he was 4. The next day, Akane was back in school staring at Handa with malicious intent. Handa gets worried that Akane will find a way to hurt him or take advantage of him because he thinks he's weak and vulnerable. He doesn't think anyone likes him except his friend Kawafuji. But at school, he pretends not to know Kawafuji so no one can bully him for being his friend. He knows that Kawafuji is popular and he doesn't want to do anything that could ruin his reputation. So even though Handa has a friend, he still acts like a loner. After class, he goes to the local shop to buy paper with Kawafuji. But when some of their schoolmates arrive, he panics and hides to avoid them seeing the two together. Kawafuji asked Handa why he had to keep their friendship a secret. Kawafuji assured him that there was no problem with letting everyone know they were friends. Handa felt very touched by his kind gesture, even though he is so popular and could have treated him differently. He was really thankful for having such a great friend like Kawafuji. Handa is summoned to the student council chamber and immediately faced with a hostile atmosphere. The stern-faced president, fueled by her hatred of men, loudly accuses him of creating chaos at their school. She claims girls have inexplicably fallen in love with him. As punishment, she tells him he must wear a girl's uniform for an entire year. His fear is increased when he sees another male student wearing the same outfit. He can feel his heart pounding as he runs away, desperately trying to escape the president and his friends. He imagines being laughed at in school and picked on by bullies. Suddenly, there's a loud thud as he trips on the stairs and falls with the president, getting unconscious. The next day, Handa goes to school completely different than usual. He had lost his memories, and when he went back to his room, there were letters from his old colleagues, making him think that he was popular. Handa was quietly listening in the classroom. When he heard something that surprised him, it was the Handa Force, created by Akane, Ryo, Aizawa, and that another guy. They wanted to help him get his memories back, but Handa had already accepted the fact that he doesn't remember anything. He only remembers that he's popular. He tries to flirt with the girls, but they think he's a bit weird and end up walking away, like he was pretending to be someone he wasn't. However, one of his classmates was determined to find him and wouldn't give up, so he took off running and hid behind the school building, hoping she didn't spot him. He trembles as he tries to stay calm, but then, out of nowhere, someone takes a swing at him from behind. He's shocked to see that it is Akane, holding a hammer in his hands. Fear grips his heart and he scrambles away from the danger. The Handa Force starts chasing him and his head throbs with terror as he runs for the stairs. He kneels, feeling like everyone hates him. His throat tightens as he sees the Handa Force coming over with their hammers raised. But then, his trusty Handa wall appears and he's back to his old self, convinced that no one will ever like him. But his biggest challenge comes the next day, when he finds out that the school festival competition is coming up, and everyone's buzzing about what the class should do. Everyone turns to Handa for his final say, but he can't focus on anything except meeting Kawafuji later. He's presented with 3 choices: calligraphy class, Romeo and Juliet theater, or a maid cafe. Handa is tempted to choose calligraphy, but he knows everyone will hate him even more if he chooses it. His nervous mind races with thoughts of having to dress like a maid or act in front of everyone. Suddenly, Yukio speaks about how Handa secretly loves musicals. He immediately feels a wave of hopelessness washes over him. Something about the way Yukio said it made it feel as if he were making it harder for Handa to choose. His mind raced as he thought of meeting Kawafuji. Almost distractedly, he whispered cafe, suddenly realizing that everyone had heard him. His heart pounded and he quickly bolted out the door in a state of panic. The student council president approached him with a glint in her eye and asked if he could do calligraphy for the festival's signage. His heart raced with happiness, and he says yes. She appreciates his effort, and for once, he felt relieved. Someone valued his talents after all these years. Handa was filled with courage at the thought of speaking up. He had to tell his classmates about his idea for the calligraphy class at the festival. Taking a deep breath, he timidly spoke up and shared his opinion. Unfortunately, it seemed like everyone had already decided on something different. A cafe with Romeo and Juliet musical. Handa was forced to take on the role of the queen, and his job was to only sit on a chair. As soon as he stepped up onto the stage, he noticed Kawafuji in the audience. His heart sunk with disappointment and questioned if an outcast like him really deserved to have a friend like Kawafuji. Handa sat alone behind the stage, feeling nothing but emptiness. He knew his classmates were still treating him poorly and he wanted to do something to prove himself in the play. He racked his brain for an idea, something that could make a difference, until finally, he thought of it to say a line. He held his breath as the door creaked open. His heart raced as he heard a few students entering the room. He waited in anticipation, bracing himself for that one loud bang that would startle everyone and make them stop fighting. His heart beats fiercely as he can hear the loud noises outside, getting louder and more chaotic by the second. Without warning, he hears a thunderous bump that sends a chill down his spine. Gritting his teeth, he pushes open the door and bursts into the chaos with an enraged shout to stop fighting. He felt an immense wave of embarrassment wash over him when he saw the kids fighting. His heart raced and his cheeks burned as he quickly tried to disappear from the scene once again. The shame was almost too much for him to bear. Handa's heart was pounding as the award ceremony started. He felt like eyes were burning into his back from every direction. Just when he thought he could go unnoticed, the announcement that his class won the award. His stomach dropped and his palms became sweaty as he slowly inched toward the stage. As the president was about to hand him the helmet, Kawafuji spoke out saying that he deserved it too. Handa felt a pang of guilt for robbing his friend of what he wanted, but the president refused to budge on her decision. Handa was in shock when Kawafuji announced he could give him the award. After all, they were friends. The audience started to grumble and become angry at Kawafuji's offer. Handa had no idea what was going on as the students began to fight with each other. The Handa wall was back up as he struggled to take it all in. He feared that if Kawafuji were to ask for his helmet, others would find out about their friendship and Kawafuji would be harassed relentlessly. A cold sweat ran down his spine as he watched Kawafuji approach him, wondering what would happen if his request was made. Would their friendship be revealed? Would everyone laugh at them? His heart raced with fear as he waited for an answer. Handa was amazed when, after all his worrying and fears, Kawafuji finally showed him the truth. Handa wasn't hated, he was admired. Everywhere he looked there were girls cheering for him, a whole class copying his appearance, and even the manga club had created a female character inspired by him. It seemed that everyone truly appreciated and respected Handa for who he was. The crowd cheered for Handa when he took off his helmet and told them everyone deserved the award. Handa's selfless act was widely admired by the students, and even though he may not have understood what they saw in him, Kawafuji assured him that he was the most popular guy in school. After the festival, everything goes back to normal except for one thing. Handa was feeling a little doubtful of himself, but thankfully, Kawafuji had given him words of encouragement to help him break down the imaginary wall he had built up. On the way to school, the Handa Force and more greeted him with warmth in their hearts. Seeing this, he smiled genuinely for the first time and felt relieved that his worries were finally gone and a new life was about to start. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.